Tensions escalating at the Strait of Hormuz. It happened overnight, despite President Trump calling off powerful strikes against Iran. Now the commander-in-chief says a peace deal could be signed in the coming days.
Max Gordon joins us from Dubai in the UAE with more. Hey, Max.
Hey, good morning. Peace could be coming to the region, but the Gulf still remains on edge, waiting to see what happens. U.S. forces reporting shooting down two one-way Iranian attack drones that were allegedly trying to strike commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. This even after President Trump reportedly he called off strikes yesterday. This is what he had to say on Truth Social. He wrote, based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled and scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. President Trump also says that a memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Iran could soon be signed. Take a listen.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents. We should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe, and it's a great thing. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
We're now learning more about what might be in a memorandum of understanding between Iran and the U.S. According to Iranian state media, the 14-page draft includes U.S. commitments to lift sanctions on Iran, withdraw troops, and release frozen Iranian funds. But final negotiations still need to tackle nuclear and economic issues. Iran's foreign ministry says much of the agreement has been outlined, but nothing is currently finalized. The potential deal comes after Iran struck down a U.S. Apache helicopter this week and angered many of its neighbors in the Gulf after launching strikes against them in retaliation to American military action. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to President Trump about the deal and, according to his office, expressed appreciation that a final agreement will address Iran's nuclear program, among other issues. Still, many of Iran's neighbors in the Gulf have stayed relatively quiet about the potential for a deal. President Trump says that the naval blockade of Iran will remain in place until the agreement has been signed. And according to Bloomberg, the signing of an agreement could come as soon as Sunday, potentially taking place in Switzerland. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see, because then the vice president's going to have to scramble because he's got a book coming out, and I'm sure he had plans maybe to go to a Barnes & Noble. I'm not sure if he'll change those plans, but if the president tells him to, I think he has to. So, guys, what's in the deal? Let's just take a look at some of the bullet points and some things that we know for sure. Strait of Hormuz, open, toll-free, end of story. Return to war shipping volumes within 30 days. And that's about 100 ships a day. Right now they're getting between 20 and 30. We lift our blockade on their blockade, and Iran receives temporary sanctions relief. That's easier to digest than getting the funds unfrozen. So then they're going to negotiate in detail for the next 60 days, and they want this to extend all the way to Lebanon. And one of the sticking points has to be, Ainsley, as you know, is it's not Lebanon and Israel's the problem.
Correct.
They're getting along. It's Hezbollah that rockets Israel. That's the problem, and Israel responds. So that's one of the many places where this could be like falling downstairs.
Yeah, if you talk to anyone who's been to Lebanon, I always heard Beirut was such a fun city, such a beautiful city. But now because of Hezbollah, the area is just not safe. So you don't have as many Americans traveling over there. So you're right. They do care about. Imagine if Hezbollah, and we have terrorists that are probably living in our country that have come over the border during the Biden administration. But imagine if hundreds of thousands of them just made a home here in America, and we were fighting them and we wanted them out, but we couldn't get them out. And that's what's happening in Lebanon right now. So they're lobbing missiles over at Israel, or they were. Now Israel has to respond. So it wasn't Israel fighting Lebanon. It was just Hezbollah, the proxy that is paid for by Iran. And that's why, should the president unfreeze the billions of dollars that is Iranian money that's overseas and in bank accounts, they want that money unfrozen. But what will they do with that money? Will they use it to fund these proxies? Will they use it to fund Hezbollah? Or will they use it to rebuild their cities that have been bombed by Israel or by America?
Well, they definitely have to rebuild some of their infrastructure, but their stated goal as a country is this terror against the United States in Israel. So whether they do it within the next 3 years or they delay it 5 or 6 years, that is their stated goal.
And
They
we can't
can't
trust
exist without it. And you're exactly right, Ainsley. This is why the president says that the funds is going to be released in a phased approach. The Iranians wanted the money up front. The president said no. Also, Brian, you were talking about that blockade. I'm being told just because the blockade is being lifted doesn't mean that the troops are coming home. So they will allow the flow to take place, but the troops may stay to make sure the enforcement is in play, just in case Iran tries to, pull a fast one on us.
Yeah, we took out another one of those ships, guys, yesterday that just said, I'm going to ignore the blockade, so we blew up their engine room. That's the way it is. We did one of them was an Indian vessel 2 days ago. There's a blockade there for a reason, and we got to enforce it. That's just the way it is. So the blockade on the blockade, which was unbelievably effective, is one of the reasons we're talking. And I don't know if you've noticed it. I looked everywhere before the show started, go to the Middle Eastern outlets, all the ones I can read, and this would-be deal is different in that we always hear the president being optimistic, and then we hear Iran not being optimistic. This time, the most negative thing I hear is we're not there yet, as opposed to the crazy Americans, death to American, all the rhetoric. I think that hitting them for 2 days sent a message, we'll do it again.
Right.
And I think the analogy of a boa constrictor just slowly suffocating them, I think got through to them. So we'll see if something happens in Switzerland this weekend.
Well, according to Axios, 2 sources told Axios the deal has been approved on the Iranian side at high levels, but likely not by the supreme leader. So that might be the holdout right now. Maybe they have to find him because he's in hiding. So it's harder to communicate.